You know, what we do, it's so, again, like, it just, you know, it's so hard to hit those targets because it's almost impossible to know exactly what the production schedules are, when we're looking
Yeah.
for what, all that stuff. It's so hard that
Right.
it's a matter of being like having your music totally organized, making sure we have it, and then just being like ready, whether we're calling because we had that track or whether we're calling because we want that track, and just making sure like everything is ready so that if someone called you and was like, I need this cleared, I need this track, I need the wave, I need the instrumental, I need it in the next hour, that you could deliver, and then you will impress that person, that supervisor, 100% of the time. Because like, again, because, you know, being proactive is good, but it is so hard. There's no rule. So it's a lot about the people who like, who we, I think I speak for a lot of people, that we really remember are the people who, like, when they got that call, we're so ready, we're so on it. And then it's like, oh, awesome. I'm gonna work with them again. Like, amazing. And then that's how those relationships are really born. Like, is people who excel in those moments. Like, those are the people who will call again and again and again. Of course, getting to that first call, it can be very hard and tricky, but it's those people who really deliver that get the calls again and again and again.
Absolutely. That's such good, such great advice. And, you know, that's the thing that also is super important, I think, for people is to, when, you know, they're going for something that is, you know, that first call or trying to make a, you know, get that first thing happening. That's the big heavy lifting. That's the hardest part. But by being professional and really knowing what they're going for and targeting it, they increase their chances, because there's so many songwriters vying for this stuff. But the trick is get yourself within that top percentage, right? That top percentage of professionals that are doing it right. And that's, you increase your chances vastly, right? I mean, that's the whole trick with this, is that even though there's chance involved, you have to get yourself within that top 5%. And once you're in there, you're just, you know, you're all of a sudden you're in the game, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it's just, it's really about, like, of course having good music is essential, but it, you know, like, it's the people who off the bat demonstrate they know what we need. Like, it's the people who are like, all of these tracks have been 100% pre-cleared, like, I control 100% of the master and the publishing, meaning like they own the recording, and they own all the publishing. And that is the trickiest thing, especially when it's a band recording or like a band song, is, you know, I always remember the story. A friend of mine worked with an artist she was developing, and she like did a deal with the artist for like with some big company, and like a clearance came up, and then one of the writers was like, no one told me about this, like, no one told me this deal was made. And like, that person was not on board, and she came to me and she's like, I don't know what to do. Like, the artist that I'm working on and this other writer, they're like best friends. I didn't think we needed to talk about like who has the rights to license the music, like that. And those things happen all the time. And I had that come up, and like one more similar anecdote on an indie film where this artist, she was part of a duo, and she was an actress in the movie. And early on, before I even got brought on, because that happens a lot in film, where indie films, they'll be like, we don't need a supervisor, and then they'll realize that they need a supervisor, but they have no money. So early on, she was like, I'm in a band. I I wrote the song years ago. I'm sure, like, good to go for free in the film. Totally good to go. And so this comes to me from the director, like, this person passed it along. It's her band. She wrote, you know, like, good to go. Great. Put it in a great spot in the film. So then I'm like, well, I need to paper this. I need to actually do the quote request, you know, and clear the song. And so she fills out the paperwork, and she's like, actually, there is a third writer, and she gives me the name, and it's a very famous writer. And so they were like, we wrote this so many years ago, like, our manager set us up, like, he was really cool, I'm sure he'd have no problem with this, like, he was such a cool guy, we've never done anything with this song. And so I'm like, okay, well, like, you know, but they acknowledged that he would still need to sign off. So I had to chase him down. He's with a major publisher, and I got on the phone with him, and he was just like, I'm a writer for my life. Like, I can't unprecedented give away this song for free. Like, and because this girl went off and said that this song was free, like, now I don't want to work with this person anymore.
Right.
Because like, they had no right to say that or do that or promise that, and we couldn't use the song. And that happens. And that's the fear, is that like you get to that point and then they're like, oh no, there's just, oh, like so-and-so, I'm sure they'll be fine. And then so-and-so turns out not to be fine. So to circle back, like, you know, to really be someone who I'll save is like, you have to say like, you know, I can confirm I have the rights to license this song. Like no one's going to come out of the woodwork. Like the bassist who was in the room is not going to like claim that they wrote 10% of the song. You know, there's no like indie label in Silver Lake that recorded it that's going to say they own the recording. Like the band needs to like the good music plus demonstrating they have a savvy sense of like how a song is cleared and that they have those rights. That is really, really the key, because that's the fear. Because just so you guys know where we're coming from. So that's something like that. So say I get a song sent to me. I love it. I send it to the director. They love it. They love the song. And it comes from me. So they trust me. They trust that I'm their person to like give them good music and that I've got it. And so then we get down to clearing it. And then something like that happens where there's another writer or someone else claims it. And, or like someone like the third random dude is like, I'm cool with this, but I'm going to quote like, I'm going to charge like $20,000 and then there's a problem. Right. Then the director who hired me is looking at me going, what do you mean there's a problem? And, you know, I could, as much as I could say, oh, this was some miscommunication in the band, I'm so sorry, till I'm blue in the face, but they're still going to look at me like, you know, what do you mean there's a problem? We're trusting that there isn't a problem. Like, it's still your fault. Like, you're the one who should know this stuff. And so, you know, these are the reasons why, you know, I tell artists, like, always try to get with a pitching company. Like, go try to sign with someone who can pitch your music, because that's why I go to pitching companies way more than I go to independent artists. Because, like, God forbid, imagine, you know, you're in that position, you know, that person's right. So, like, that's where we are coming from. So you can understand, like, that's why supervisors, you know, it takes a lot for them to take a risk on a brand new band who's cold emailed them, because God forbid that happens and they lose like a director or someone, because all our jobs are based off relationships, like getting hired by those people. So that's the why behind why we expect this stuff and why the professional stuff is so important, and the savviness with clearance is so important when you're reaching out right away.
Wow. Yeah, you guys, you're not going to hear a better why than what you just heard there. So seriously, this is now you have the inside scoop on how this whole thing works, and you understand the relationships that go on, why it's important to get all your songs vetted, and then, you know, again, getting somebody to represent you, because it's like a bit of a safety guard in there. Yes, and I guess for those of the songwriters that want to kind of do it on their own, the whole idea is that you've got lots of time before you pitch your music to solve all these problems, right? So you don't want to be doing it last minute, because it just won't, you know, you're not going to be able to do it last minute. So just get it all lined up if you really want to kind of go your own road kind of thing.
Yeah.